Maya Johnson thought the baby at the formal dinner was just fussy and tired. She was wrong. When her deaf eyes finally noticed, she saw something impossible. The upscale restaurant buzzed with the kind of controlled energy that accompanied powerful men making deals over expensive wine. Maya sat beside Hyun Woo Jin, her contracted fiancé, in a blue silk dress that cost more than her monthly rent used to. Her hands rested in her lap, perfectly still, perfectly poised. The role she'd been hired to play, elegant, silent accessory to Seoul's most dangerous businessman. 8 weeks into this arrangement, and they'd exchanged maybe 200 words total. Not because communication was impossible, she was a professional ASL interpreter. Communication was literally her expertise, but because Hyun Woo Jin didn't seem interested in talking to her beyond the basics. Dinner at 7, wear the blue dress, smile for the cameras. $50,000 a month for 6 months to play the role of settled, stable fiancé. No feelings required, no real relationship expected. Maya told herself the loneliness didn't bother her. After her ex-husband left 2 years ago, after everything that happened, she'd stopped expecting romantic miracles anyway. This arrangement was practical, professional, and paid off her student loans. That was enough. Across the white-clothed table, Mr. Park Sang-woo laughed too loudly at something Hyun Woo Jin's associate said. His wife Claire smiled that tight smile women wore when they'd rather be anywhere else. Between them, their nanny Soo-jin held a 10-month-old baby boy who'd been fussing for the last 20 minutes. Maya's dark eyes tracked the movement automatically. The baby squirmed in Soo-jin's thin arms, making unhappy sounds that Maya couldn't hear, but could see in the way everyone's attention fractured. Babies cried. That's what babies did. Most people at the table had already dismissed the noise, returning to their conversations about shipping routes and profit margins. But Maya's trained gaze caught something that made her breath stop in her throat. The baby's hands weren't random flailing. They were forming shapes, deliberate, primitive shapes her professional interpreter brain recognized instantly. Small thumb pressed to forehead, then hand sweeping down. The sign for bad. Both tiny fists moving against each other as if grinding. The gesture for hurts. Palm up, reaching desperately toward the table. Help! Bad man hurts me. Help! The baby wasn't just crying. He was signing for his life. Maya's heart slammed against her ribs. Her hands gripped the edge of the table, and she felt rather than heard her chair scrape loudly as she stood abruptly. Every head turned toward her. In her peripheral vision, she saw Hyun Woo Jin's dark eyes narrow slightly, his sharp features arranging into a question she couldn't process right now. She walked straight to Soo-jin, her heels clicking against polished floors. Up close, the nanny looked even more exhausted than Maya had initially noticed. Dark circles carved deep beneath her eyes, pale skin stretched tight over delicate bones, nervous hands that picked at the baby's blanket. "Onrain, let me hold him." Maya signed and spoke simultaneously, her voice carrying the flat effect that sometimes happened when she couldn't hear her own volume. Soo-jin's eyes went wide with something that looked like panic. She shook her head frantically, backing away, speaking rapid Korean that Maya couldn't hear, but understood perfectly through body language. The universal language of fear. "No, don't. Please stop." Maya reached for the baby anyway. The room went silent, or at least that's what she imagined happened based on the way everyone's mouths stopped moving and their bodies went rigid. Mr. Park stood abruptly, his stocky frame blocking her path. His jowly face flushed red, cold eyes fixed on Maya with undisguised hostility. His wife grabbed his arm, saying something Maya couldn't read from this angle. Soo-jin looked faint, one clutching the baby tighter, which only made the infant struggle harder in her grip. Maya didn't stop. She'd spent 30 years navigating a world that wasn't built for her, pushing through spaces where people thought she didn't belong. She knew how to move through resistance. Her hands closed around the baby, and Soo-jin, despite her panic, released him rather than risk hurting the child in a struggle. The baby stopped crying immediately. Small, chubby hands reached for Maya's face, patting her cheeks with the kind of desperate relief that made her throat close. She pulled him against her chest, one hand supporting his head, the other wrapped protectively around his small body. He was warm and solid and real in her arms. And then he did something that stopped Maya's world completely. The baby's small hands moved in clear, deliberate signs against her shoulder where she could see them. Not help, not safe. He signed, "Mama." Maya's breath caught. Her pulse stuttered and raced. She looked down at the baby in her arms, really looked at him for the first time. Dark eyes, deep brown, almost black, with long lashes that seemed familiar in a way that made her stomach drop. The shape of his nose, small and perfect, but with that particular slope she'd memorized on ultrasound images 2 years ago. His hair, thick and black, the same texture she'd imagined running her fingers through when she was 8 months pregnant. And then she saw it. Maya's hand trembled as she gently brushed back the baby's soft hair behind his left ear. There, unmistakable against his light brown skin, was a small crescent moon-shaped birthmark. The same birthmark the ultrasound technician had pointed out at 32 weeks. "See that? Behind the ear? Probably a birthmark, unique as a fingerprint." The same birthmark she'd kissed in the NICU when her premature son lived for 3 days before his tiny heart gave out. The same birthmark she'd sobbed over when they'd taken his body away. Maya's hands shook so violently she almost dropped him. The baby, her son, Ji-ho, the name she'd whispered into his ear in those 3 precious days, clung to her, small fists gripping her dress. She looked up, straight at Hyun-woo-jin. He stood now, all 6 feet 2 inches of controlled power, his broad shoulders rigid beneath his tailored black suit. His sharp jawline was tight, dark eyes fixed on her with an intensity that would have intimidated her 8 weeks ago. Now she just saw confusion, and something else, something that looked like dawning horror. "You told me our baby died," Maya signed with one hand, the other still holding Ji-ho protectively. Her voice came out rough, broken. "You told me he died." Hyun-woo-jin's face went pale. His elegant hands, the hands she used to love, before everything fell apart, lifted slightly as if to sign back, then froze. She watched his throat work as he swallowed. "I thought he did," he said in Korean. And though Maya couldn't hear the words, she read his lips and saw the truth in his expression. He didn't know either. Mr. Park moved toward her, his large hand reaching for Ji-ho. "Give me my son." Maya stepped back, turning her body to shield the baby. Her eyes found Marcus Chen, Hyun-woo-jin's massive bodyguard, standing near the door. While she caught his attention and signed desperately, "Don't let them take him, please." Marcus's kind eyes widened behind his intimidating frame. He moved immediately, his 6'4" bulk positioning between Maya and the Parks. His huge hand went to his earpiece, speaking urgently to whoever monitored security. Jin Park, Maya's best friend and fellow interpreter, appeared at her elbow. His slim frame vibrated with barely contained energy, black frame glasses reflecting the overhead lights as his phone came up to record. Not helping Jin, Maya signed one-handed, but she was grateful for his presence anyway. Evidence. They needed evidence. "You're mistaken," Mr. Park said loudly, his face now completely red. Claire stood beside him, her sharp features arranged in manufactured concern, but her calculating eyes betrayed her. "Ara, that's our adopted son. You're clearly having some kind of episode." "Episode?" Maya's laugh came out bitter. She shifted Ji-ho slightly, reaching into her small clutch purse with shaking fingers. She pulled out something she'd carried every single day for 2 years. A small hospital bracelet, infant size, yellowed slightly with age but still legible. "Baby boy Johnson Hyun, born February 14th, 4:32 a.m., weight 3 pounds 2 ounces. She held it up. "This is my son's hospital bracelet. From 2 years ago, when he was born 7 weeks premature." Her voice cracked. "When you told me he died at 3 days old." She looked at Ji-ho, then back at the Parks. "His birth date matches this bracelet. His birthmark matches the one documented in his medical files." She turned Ji-ho slightly so everyone could see the crescent moon behind his left ear. "This is my son." The room went completely silent. No one moved, no one seemed to breathe. Mrs. Claire Park's face went white. She swayed slightly, gripping the table. Mr. Park's mouth opened and closed, no sound coming out. Hyun-woo-jin moved then, crossing the space between them in 3 long strides. He stopped just in front of Maya, his dark eyes searching her face, then dropping to Ji-ho. She watched his throat work again, watched his jaw clench and unclench. His hands lifted slowly. When he signed, his movements were fluid, perfect ASL that she hadn't seen from him in 2 years. The birthmark, he signed. Identical, she signed back. One-handed, her other arm locked around Jiho. Hyun Woo-jin's face transformed. Something cracked in his carefully controlled expression. Pain. Raw, devastating pain that mirrored what she felt. Arna, he looked at the Parks. When he spoke in Korean, his voice was quiet, but Maya could see the lethal promise in his body language. Marcus moved closer to the couple, his massive presence a clear threat. No one leaves, Hyun Woo-jin said, and though Maya couldn't hear him, she felt the vibration of authority in the air. Mr. Park tried to bluster. You can't keep us here. We have legal adoption papers. This woman is clearly delusional. Show me the papers, Hyun Woo-jin said coldly. Claire's hands shook as she pulled documents from her designer handbag. Hyun Woo-jin took them, his eyes scanning quickly. Maya watched his face change, watched his jaw tighten further. He held up the papers. This shows an adoption date of February 20th, 2 years ago, of a baby born February 17th. He looked at Maya. 3 days after our son was born. Impossible, Maya whispered. The timeline is impossible. Jiho whimpered in her arms, and she immediately bounced him gently, pressing her cheek to his soft hair. He settled against her, small fist gripping the fabric of her dress, thumb in his mouth. Jin moved closer, his phone still recording everything. The hospital should have records, he signed to Maya. Birth certificates, death certificates, adoption proceedings, everything. Hyun Woo-jin pulled out his own phone, typing rapidly. Marcus did the same. Within minutes, Hyun Woo-jin's face went even paler. No death certificate on file, he said, looking at Maya. For our son. It was deleted from the system. Maya's knees nearly gave out. Hyun Woo-jin caught her elbow, steadying her, mindful of the baby in her arms. His touch burned through the silk of her dress, familiar and foreign all at once. Someone falsified everything, Maya said, her voice barely working. Someone took our baby from the NICU and made us think he died. She looked at Sujin. The nanny stood frozen, tears streaming down her pale face. Maya shifted toward her, and the young woman flinched but didn't run. You knew, Maya signed to her, speaking aloud as well. You knew he was stolen. That's why you taught him sign language. You hoped someone would notice. Sujin nodded frantically, then fumbled for her own phone. Her thin fingers shook as she pulled up photos, videos, months of documentation, bruises on Jiho's arms, Mr. Park's rage captured on hidden camera, evidence of systematic abuse. I couldn't report him, Sujin said in halting English, her voice thick with tears. I'm undocumented. He threatened deportation, but I couldn't watch him hurt this baby anymore. I taught him signs, hoped someone would see. Someone like you. She looked at Maya with desperate hope. You see him. You save him. Maya's vision blurred with tears. She looked down at Jiho, her son alive, breathing, warm in her arms, and something broke open in her chest. 2 years of grief, of guilt, of blaming herself for not hearing him cry that night in the NICU, for not being there when his heart monitor alarmed. Except he hadn't died. He'd been stolen. Jiho's small hand patted her wet cheek. He signed again, clearer this time. Mama, safe now. Maya sobbed, actually sobbed, her shoulders shaking, her careful composure shattering completely. She felt a hand on her back, Hyun Woo-jin's palm, warm and steady, grounding her when she wanted to collapse. We get him to safety first, Hyun Woo-jin said quietly, his hand still on her back. Then we get answers. Then we destroy everyone involved. Maya looked up at him through tears. His face was harder than she'd ever seen it, sharp features arranged in cold fury. But when he looked at Jiho, something softened, something that looked like wonder. Can I? He started, then stopped, his hands lifted. May I hold him? Maya's first instinct was to say no, to run, to take Jiho and disappear where no one could hurt him again. But she saw Hyun Woo-jin's face, saw the same devastation she felt, the same desperate need to touch their son, to confirm he was real. She shifted Jiho carefully into his father's arms. Hyun Woo-jin's hands trembled as he took his son. Where the baby looked up at him with those dark eyes, studying this new face. Then Jiho's small hand reached up, patting Hyunwoo Jin's sharp jaw. The baby smiled and signed, Dada. Hyunwoo Jin's breath caught. Maya watched a single tear slide down his face, cutting through his controlled exterior. He looked at her, and in that moment, 2 years of divorce, of blame, of carefully constructed walls between them, cracked. I thought I lost him, Hyunwoo Jin signed one-handed, his other arm holding Jiho securely. I thought I lost both of you. You didn't lose me, Maya signed back, even though it wasn't entirely true. I left. Because I blamed you, he signed, pain evident in every movement. For something that wasn't your fault, for something that wasn't even real. We both blamed each other, Maya admitted. Jiho squirmed, reaching for both of them, wanting both parents. They moved closer instinctively, creating a protective circle around their son. Behind them, Marcus's voice carried across the room. Police are on their way. No one leaves this restaurant. Mr. Park lunged toward the door. Marcus moved with surprising speed for his size, blocking the exit. 2 other security personnel appeared, locking down all exits. You can't do this, Park shouted, his composure finally cracking. You have no right. I have every right, Hyunwoo Jin said quietly, his voice carrying lethal promise, even if Maya couldn't hear it. She could see it in his body language, in the way everyone in the room suddenly looked very, very afraid. You stole my son. You tortured him. You made his mother believe she'd failed him. And now there is nowhere in this world you can hide from what's coming. Sirens flashed outside, or at least Maya saw the reflection of blue and red lights in the restaurant windows. Jin appeared at her side. Maya, the police will need statements. Do you want me to interpret? She nodded, unable to find her voice. Her arms ached to hold Jiho again, but she watched Hyunwoo Jin with their son, watched the way his elegant hands signed stories to the baby, making Jiho giggle. 2 years. They'd lost 2 years. No. Jiho had been stolen for 2 years. Abused. Hurt. Made to survive with people who didn't love him. But he'd survived. And somehow, impossibly, she'd found him. The police entered and the chaos of statements, evidence collection, and arrests began. Maya sat in a booth with Jiho back in her arms, refusing to let him go. When Hyunwoo Jin sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders touched, his hand resting on Jiho's small back. We need to keep him safe during the investigation, one officer said through Jin's interpretation. Child Protective Services will need to be involved. No, Maya and Hyunwoo Jin said simultaneously. He stays with us, Hyunwoo Jin continued. I have resources, security. He'll be safer with us than anywhere else. The officer looked skeptical until Hyunwoo Jin made one phone call. Within minutes, lawyers arrived. Paperwork was expedited. Emergency custody was granted to the biological parents, pending DNA confirmation, which everyone knew was just a formality. By the time they left the restaurant 3 hours later, the Parks were in custody. Soojin had been granted temporary immunity for her cooperation and testimony. And Maya walked out carrying her son, with Hyunwoo Jin's hand at her lower back, guiding them to the armored car waiting outside. Jiho had fallen asleep against Maya's shoulder, exhausted from the ordeal. She breathed in his baby smell, powder and milk and something uniquely him, and felt tears sliding silently down her face again. In the car, Hyunwoo Jin sat beside her, his body angled toward them protectively. Marcus drove with Jin in the passenger seat, both men maintaining careful silence. Where are we going? Maya signed one-handed. My penthouse, Hyunwoo Jin replied. Most secure. I have a guest room prepared. She remembered that guest room. Warm lighting, soft bedding. The room he'd given her during their contracted engagement 8 weeks ago. The room she'd been avoiding, spending most nights at her own apartment, and unable to bear the intimacy of living with her ex-husband. Now everything had changed. We need to talk, she signed, about everything, but not tonight. Tonight I just need... I know, he interrupted gently. Tonight you need to hold him. Make sure he's real. I understand. Because of course he did. He'd lost Jiho too. He'd spent 2 years believing his son was dead, believing his marriage had ended because of his own failure to protect his family. They'd both been drowning in guilt for a tragedy that was actually a crime. At the penthouse, Hyunwoo Jin led them to the guest room. It was exactly as Maya remembered. Soft cream walls, plush carpeting, a king-size bed that looked impossibly inviting. But now there was also a crib set up in the corner, and a changing table stocked with diapers and supplies. When did you? She started to sign. Tonight, while we were at the police station, I had my staff prepare everything. He paused. I didn't want him in a strange place. I wanted him to feel home. Maya's throat closed. She nodded, unable to form words. Hyunwoo-jin helped her change Ji-ho into soft pajamas, their hands working in quiet coordination. The baby woke briefly, fussing, but settled when Maya held him close and signed, Mama's here, safe now, always safe. Ji-ho's small hand caught hers, holding on tight, and Maya felt her heart crack open all over again. She carried him to the bed, unable to put him in the crib. Couldn't bear to have him out of her arms, out of her sight. Hyunwoo-jin seemed to understand. He helped her arrange pillows safely, creating a secure space where Ji-ho could sleep between them. Stay, Maya signed to him. Please, I can't. I'll stay, Hyunwoo-jin assured her. I'm not going anywhere. They lay on opposite sides of Ji-ho, watching him sleep. The baby's chest rose and fell steadily, small mouth slack, one hand fisted in Maya's dress even in sleep. In the dim light, Maya watched Hyunwoo-jin's face, watched the way his dark eyes stayed fixed on their son, with a mixture of wonder and grief. His elegant hand rested gently on Ji-ho's back, feeling each breath. I blamed you, Maya signed slowly, careful not to wake the baby. For not being there, for working late, for not coming to the hospital fast enough. I know, he signed back. I blamed you for not hearing the alarms, for being deaf, which made me hate myself more. We were both wrong. We were both destroyed. Silence stretched between them. Not uncomfortable, but heavy with 2 years of grief and regret. I never stopped loving you, Hyunwoo-jin signed, his movements barely visible in the low light. I just didn't know how to live with the guilt, with the pain, so I pushed you away. I left, Maya corrected. I filed for divorce. I gave up on us. We both gave up. Ji-ho stirred, small face scrunching. Maya immediately stroked his soft hair, soothing him back to sleep. Hyunwoo-jin's hand covered hers for a moment, their fingers tangling over their son's head. We have him back, Maya signed when Ji-ho settled. Against all odds, against everything, we have him back. What do we do now? Maya looked at her ex-husband, the man she'd loved desperately, married at 26, divorced at 28, the father of her child who she'd blamed and pushed away, the man who'd contracted her as his fake fiancé 8 weeks ago because he couldn't bear to actually try dating again after their disaster of a marriage. We figure it out, she signed, one day at a time. For him, Hyunwoo-jin agreed. But as they lay there in the darkness, watching their miracle baby sleep, Maya felt something shift, something that had been broken beginning to heal. Not easily, not quickly, but beginning. Tomorrow they'd deal with DNA tests, police investigations, and the full horror of what had been done to their son. Tomorrow they'd have to confront the Parks, understand the full conspiracy, face the medical realities of Ji-ho's condition. But tonight, they were a family again. Even if neither of them knew how to be one anymore. Maya woke to soft whimpering. Her body moved on instinct, while reaching for Ji-ho before her eyes fully opened. The baby squirmed between her and Hyunwoo-jin, small face scrunched in discomfort. She checked his diaper, wet, and carefully lifted him, mindful not to wake his father. Except Hyunwoo-jin's dark eyes were already open, watching her with an intensity that made her breath catch. I'll change him, she signed one-handed, holding Ji-ho against her shoulder. I'll help, Hyunwoo-jin replied, already moving off the bed. They worked in synchronized silence at the changing table. Maya handled the diaper while Hyunwoo-jin warmed a bottle using the equipment his staff had prepared. The domestic intimacy felt surreal. They'd never gotten to do this together. Ji-ho had been in the NICU for his entire 3-day life, hooked to monitors and tubes, not too fragile for them to hold for more than minutes at a time. Now he was here, solid and real and reaching for both of them with chubby hands. Maya took the warmed bottle from Hyunwoo-jin, settling into the plush armchair by the window. Dawn light filtered through gauzy curtains, painting everything in soft gold. Ji-ho latched onto the bottle immediately, small hands wrapping around hers, dark eyes staring up at her face with absolute trust. Her heart shattered and rebuilt itself in the same moment. Hyun-woo-jin knelt beside the chair, one hand resting on the armrest, his face level with Ji-ho's. The baby's eyes tracked to his father, then back to his mother, as if confirming both parents were present. Real, not disappearing. He's been living in survival mode, Maya signed one-handed. You're constantly checking that we're here. Can you blame him? Hyun-woo-jin's jaw tightened. He's been with people who hurt him. Of course he's vigilant. When Ji-ho finished the bottle, Maya lifted him to her shoulder for burping. He released a small burp, then immediately signed against her neck. Mama stay? The primitive question, formed with barely coordinated baby hands, destroyed her. Mama stays, she signed back firmly. Always, forever, promise. Ji-ho's small body relaxed against her. Within minutes, he was asleep again, exhausted from the trauma of the previous day. Maya wanted to hold him, keep him close, never let him out of her sight, but her arms ached and she knew she needed rest to face what was coming. Hyun-woo-jin seemed to read her mind. Put him in the crib. I'll set up monitors, motion sensors, on audio alerts. He paused. Though you won't hear those. I'll install visual alerts too. Lights that flash if he moves or cries. Maya's throat closed at his thoughtfulness. Thank you. They settled Ji-ho in the crib together. The baby fussed briefly, but settled when Maya placed her hand on his chest, letting him feel her presence. Hyun-woo-jin's hand covered hers, both parents grounding their son. When Ji-ho's breathing evened out completely, they stepped back. Maya couldn't stop watching the monitor Hyun-woo-jin had set up on the nightstand, a clear video feed of their sleeping son. Come, Hyun-woo-jin signed. We need to talk. Kitchen. Coffee. Maya followed him through the penthouse she'd been living in, technically, for 8 weeks but had never really occupied. The kitchen was pristine, modern, clearly designed by someone with money and no time to cook. Hyun-woo-jin moved through it with surprising efficiency, brewing coffee with the kind of focus he probably applied to business deals. He set a mug in front of her, 2 sugars, no cream, exactly how she took it, and she realized with a pang that he'd remembered after 2 years of separation. They sat at the kitchen island, the city waking up beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows. Seoul stretched out below them, millions of people starting their day, completely unaware that Maya's entire world had been rebuilt and shattered and rebuilt again in the span of 12 hours. Hospital records, Hyun-woo-jin signed, pulling out his phone and sliding it toward her. Marcus got access overnight. Maya read the screen. On her medical knowledge from years of interpreting for doctors, helping her parse the clinical language. Birth record, baby boy Johnson, Hyun, born February 14th at 4:32 a.m., admitted to NICU with respiratory distress and suspected cardiac abnormalities. Then 3 days later, patient deceased, 2:47 a.m., February 17th. Cause of death, congenital heart failure. Except there was no death certificate, no autopsy report, no record of what happened to the body. Just a note from Dr. Kim Sung-ho. Parents notified, remains transferred to funeral home per family request. I never requested that, Maya signed, her hands shaking. You made all the arrangements. You told me it was handled. I never made those arrangements either, Hyun-woo-jin signed back, his face pale. Dr. Kim told me you'd already chosen a funeral home, that you wanted privacy. I was drowning in grief, so I just believed him. Maya felt sick. He played us against each other, made each of us think the other was handling it. Look at the next page, she scrolled. Bank records. A wire transfer of 5 million won to Dr. Kim's personal account on February 18th, the day after Ji-ho was supposedly cremated. Sender, Park Sang-woo. He paid the doctor to steal our baby, Maya whispered, her voice breaking. Why? Why would he do this? Hyun-woo-jin's expression went cold, the dangerous side of him emerging, the side that made him one of Seoul's most feared businessmen. Business. It's always business with Park. He pulled up another file. 3 years ago, Park borrowed 50 million won from me for a real estate deal. The deal failed, and he owed me money he couldn't pay. So he stole our baby as leverage? Not quite. Hyun-woo-jin's jaw tightened. I think it was longer term than that. He took Ji-ho and raised him, or rather, had him raised, planning to reveal the truth eventually. When I was at my most vulnerable, when he could demand I forgive the debt in exchange for my son's return, the calculation of it made Maya's stomach turn. He was going to torture our baby for years, then use him as a bargaining chip? It appears so. But it went wrong, Maya continued, her interpreter brain piecing together the narrative. Ji-ho developed health problems, the same heart condition. Park couldn't risk taking him to proper doctors because someone might recognize him, might run DNA tests. So he just abused him when the baby became inconvenient. And Sujin taught him sign language as a desperate attempt to save him, Hyun-woo-jin finished, hoping someone would notice. Someone like you. They sat in heavy silence. Maya's coffee went cold, forgotten. We need the full medical workup, she finally signed. If he has the same heart condition, already scheduled. Dr. Sarah Kim, pediatric cardiac surgeon, this afternoon. Hyun-woo-jin's face showed the strain. I've had her fly in from Boston. She's the best. Maya knew that name. She'd been one of the specialists they'd consulted when Ji-ho was in the NICU 2 years ago. The doctor who gently explained that premature babies with congenital heart defects had limited survival chances. Who'd held Maya's hand when she'd sobbed. She'll remember us, Maya signed. She already does. I spoke with her last night. She's cleared her schedule for the next month. Whatever Ji-ho needs, she'll handle it personally. The weight of Hyun-woo-jin's resources, his power, his money, it all suddenly felt necessary rather than ostentatious. Their son needed the best care. They could provide it. That mattered more than Maya's pride or her complicated feelings about accepting help from her ex-husband. Thank you, she signed simply. He's my son too, Hyun-woo-jin replied, and something in his expression cracked. I thought I'd lost him. Lost you. Lost everything that mattered. And now I have a second chance, and I'm terrified I'll fail again. Maya reached across the island, taking his elegant hand in hers. His fingers were cold despite the warm kitchen. We'll fail together this time, and succeed together. Partnership? What not blame? He turned his hand, lacing their fingers together. I want to try again. Not the contract, not the pretense. I want to be a family, real, if you'll have me. Her heart hammered against her ribs. Hyun-woo-jin, I know I have no right to ask. I know I destroyed us the first time. But I've spent 2 years in hell, Maya, missing you, hating myself, trying to forget and failing every single day. His dark eyes held hers. Seeing you last night with Ji-ho, watching you save him, watching you be the fierce, brilliant woman I fell in love with. I remembered why I married you, and I realized I never wanted to divorce you. I just didn't know how to live with the pain. Tears slid down Maya's cheeks. I don't know if I can trust you again. Trust us again. I'll earn it, he signed immediately. However long it takes, whatever it takes. I'm not asking you to forgive me today. Just don't close the door completely. Let me try. Before Maya could respond, the visual monitor on her phone flashed. Ji-ho was awake. They both stood immediately, moving as one unit back to the bedroom. Ji-ho sat in his crib, small hands gripping the rails, tears on his chubby cheeks. But when he saw both parents enter, his face transformed. Pure joy. He reached for them, signing frantically, Mama! Dada! Here! Maya scooped him up, and Hyun-woo-jin wrapped his arms around both of them. For a moment they stood there, a family broken and healing, terrified and hopeful. Then Ji-ho signed something that made them both freeze. Baby sister coming? Maya's breath stopped. Hyun-woo-jin's eyes went wide. What? Maya signed carefully. What did you say, baby? Ji-ho's small hands moved again. A little less coordinated but clear. Lady doctor, talk to Nanny. Said Mama has baby sister in tummy. Coming soon? The world tilted. Maya's hand went to her stomach automatically. Flat, normal. She'd had her period 3 weeks ago, hadn't she? She tried to remember, but the last 8 weeks had been a blur of contracted dinners and careful distance from Hyun-woo-jin and, oh God, 6 weeks ago. That night she'd had too much wine at a business dinner and ended up back at the penthouse. Hyun-woo-jin had helped her to bed, gentle and careful. She'd pulled him down beside her, kissing him, desperate for connection, for comfort, for something to fill the emptiness. They'd had sex, quiet, intense, both of them pretending it meant nothing when it meant everything. And then they'd never spoken of it again. Maya? Hyun Woo Jin's hands were shaking as he signed. Is it possible? She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. I don't know. Maybe. We use protection. Not consistently, he finished, his face a mixture of terror and something else. Hope? Ji-ho patted Maya's cheek, concerned by her distress. Mama okay? Mama's okay, she signed automatically, even though she absolutely was not okay. If she was pregnant, if they had another baby coming, after everything. We need a test, Hyun Woo Jin signed. Now. Within an hour, his assistant had delivered 3 different pregnancy tests to the penthouse. Maya stood in the master bathroom, staring at the boxes, her hands trembling too badly to open them. A knock. Hyun Woo Jin's dark eyes met hers through the doorway. Do you want me to stay or go? Stay, she signed. I can't do this alone. He entered, and together they opened the first test. Maya's hands shook so badly that Hyun Woo Jin had to help her hold the instructions so she could read them. 3 minutes. That's all it took to change their entire world. She took the test. They set the timer. They sat on the bathroom floor together, backs against the tub, not touching but close enough that she could feel his warmth. If you're pregnant, Hyun Woo Jin signed slowly, and if the baby has the same heart condition, don't, Maya interrupted. Not yet. One crisis at a time. But she was already thinking it. The same genetic defect that almost killed Ji-ho, that they were told had killed Ji-ho. If this baby had it too, the timer went off. Maya couldn't move, couldn't look. Hyun Woo Jin stood, picked up the test, and went completely still. Tell me, Maya signed, her vision blurring. He turned the test toward her. 2 clear lines. Positive. Maya's world went white. Hyun Woo Jin was beside her immediately, pulling her against his chest, his hand cradling her head. She felt his body shaking, or maybe that was hers, maybe both. We'll face it together, he signed when she pulled back enough to see his hands. Whatever comes, together. I'm terrified, she admitted. Me too. They took the other 2 tests, both positive, undeniable. Maya Johnson was 8 weeks pregnant with her ex-husband's baby. Their son, stolen and tortured for 2 years, was asleep in the next room. And in a few hours, they'd find out if Ji-ho needed immediate heart surgery. I can't do this, Maya signed, panic rising. I can't lose another baby. I can't watch you fall apart again. I can't, Maya. Hyun Woo Jin took her face in his hands, forcing her to look at him. You are the strongest person I've ever met. You survived losing our son. You survived our divorce. You survived 2 years alone, building a life, becoming even more brilliant at your work. And last night, you looked at a baby you thought was a stranger and saw the truth no one else could see. You saved our son's life. His thumbs wiped away her tears. You can do this. We can do this. And this time, I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying. Through every appointment, every scare, every moment of terror, I'm staying. She wanted to believe him. God, she wanted to believe him. Ji-ho's cry echoed through the penthouse, picked up by the monitors, transmitted to the visual alert that flashed on Maya's phone. They both moved immediately, our pandemic forgotten for a moment, focused on their son. Ji-ho stood in his crib, arms reaching. Hungry, play. Mama Dada play? Despite everything, Maya laughed. The resilience of children, the ability to find joy even after trauma. She lifted him, settling him on her hip. Yes, baby. Mama and Dada play. They spent the morning in a strange domestic bubble. Hyun Woo Jin made breakfast, scrambled eggs that Ji-ho threw on the floor with glee. Maya cleaned up, laughing at her ex-husband's appalled expression. They played with blocks, read picture books, taught Ji-ho new signs. Normal. Achingly normal. The family they'd never gotten to be. At noon, Jin arrived with Marcus. The massive bodyguard carried a bag of supplies. More clothes for Ji-ho, toys, medical records Sujin had hidden over the months. Police want statements from both of you, Jin signed to Maya after greeting her. Parks are claiming false imprisonment, defamation. Their lawyers are scary good. Mine are better, Hyun Woo Jin said coldly. Let them try. We have DNA evidence, hospital records, Sujin's testimony. They're going to prison for the rest of their lives. Marcus set up additional security monitors throughout the penthouse. Parks made bail. He signed to Hyun Woo Jin, his usually kind face serious. Judge set it at 50 million won. They paid immediately. Maya's blood went cold. They're out? Under house arrest with ankle monitors. But yes, Marcus's expression darkened. I've doubled your security. No one gets near you or Ji-ho without going through me first. At 2 p.m., Dr. Sarah Kim arrived. The pediatric cardiac surgeon looked exactly as Maya remembered. Compact frame, salt and pepper hair, kind but serious eyes behind reading glasses. She carried a portable ultrasound machine and a bag of medical equipment. Maya, Dr. Kim said warmly, signing as she spoke. I can't believe this. When Hyun Woo Jin called me last night, I thought... She stopped, emotion crossing her face. I thought I was hearing a ghost story. I saw your baby's death certificate. I mourned with you. Someone falsified everything, Maya signed back. We didn't know. We thought... Her voice broke. Dr. Kim squeezed her hand. I know. Let's make sure he's healthy now. That's what matters. The examination took an hour. Dr. Kim was thorough, gentle, talking to Ji-ho in simple signs he could understand, while checking his heart, lungs, reflexes. And the portable ultrasound showed his small chest cavity, and Maya watched the screen with her medical knowledge and maternal terror warring in her mind. Finally, Dr. Kim sat back. He has the same congenital heart defect you were told about 2 years ago. Ventricular septal defect with pulmonary stenosis. Maya's world tilted. Hyun Woo Jin's hand found hers, gripping tight. However, Dr. Kim continued, and something in her tone made Maya focus. He's 2 years older now, stronger. His heart has compensated better than I expected. Surgery is still necessary, but we can schedule it electively rather than emergently. In 6 months, when he's a bit bigger, his success rate will be significantly higher. Success rate? Maya signed. 85%, Dr. Kim said clearly. With my team in Boston, we've done this surgery hundreds of times. Ji-ho is an excellent candidate. 85%, not 30% like they'd been told 2 years ago. Ji-ho had a real chance. Maya dissolved into tears. Hyun Woo Jin pulled her against him, his own face wet. Dr. Kim waited patiently, then signed, There's more we need to discuss. Maya looked up, wiping her face. What? I understand you're pregnant. 8 weeks? Maya's breath caught. She nodded. We need to do genetic testing on this pregnancy. If the baby has the same defect, we need to know early. Monitor closely. Prepare for possible interventions. Dr. Kim's expression was compassionate but firm. The good news is, we can do fetal cardiac surgery now if needed. Technology has advanced significantly in 2 years. Fetal surgery? Hyun Woo Jin signed. Operating on the baby while still in the womb. It's risky but possible. And if we catch the defect early enough, we can repair it before birth, giving the baby a much better outcome. Dr. Kim looked between them. I won't lie. This pregnancy will be high risk. You'll need constant monitoring, but it's not hopeless. Not anymore. Maya felt Hyun Woo Jin's hand trembling in hers. We want every test, she signed, every precaution, whatever it takes. Good, Dr. Kim smiled. I'll coordinate with your OB. We'll get the genetic testing scheduled for next week. She paused. For what it's worth, I think you two are remarkably strong. What you've survived would destroy most couples. But you're still here, still fighting. That matters. After Dr. Kim left, Maya sat on the couch with Ji-ho asleep on her chest, exhausted from the examination. Hyun Woo Jin sat beside her, one arm around her shoulders, his free hand resting on Ji-ho's back. 85%, Maya signed one-handed. He's going to make it, Hyun Woo Jin signed back. He survived 2 years with the Parks. He'll survive this. And the new baby. His hand moved to her still flat stomach, resting there gently. We'll face it, together, like we should have the first time. Maya leaned into him, letting herself accept his support for the first time in years. I'm still angry at you, for how we fell apart, for not fighting harder to stay together. I'm angry at myself too, he admitted. I failed you, failed us, failed Ji-ho, Even though I didn't know he was alive. We failed each other. So we try again, better this time. Jiho stirred, small hand reaching up to sign sleepily. Mama Dada love? Maya's heart cracked. Yes, baby. Mama and Dada love you so much. Mama Dada love each other? She looked at Hyun Woo Jin. His dark eyes held hers, vulnerable in a way she'd never seen before. Working on it, Maya signed to Jiho. We're working on it. Jiho seemed satisfied with that answer, snuggling back into sleep. That evening, after Jiho was settled in his crib for the night, Maya found Hyun Woo Jin on the penthouse balcony. Seoul glittered below them, millions of lights against the dark sky. I want to try, she signed when he noticed her. Not jump back into marriage, but try. Date properly this time. Go to therapy together. Figure out if we can actually be partners, not just parents. Hope bloomed across his face. Yes, whatever you need, whatever timeline you want. And I want to keep living here, at least until Jiho's surgery. And we need to co-parent effectively, and that means proximity. The master suite is yours, he offered immediately. I'll take the guest room. No, Maya stepped closer. We share the master suite, separate sides of the bed, no expectations, but Jiho needs to see us together, needs to feel secure that both parents are present. Maya, I know it's unconventional. I know it's complicated, but nothing about our situation is normal. She looked up at him. And honestly, I'm tired of pretending I don't still love you. I'm furious at you. I don't fully trust you yet, but I never stop loving you. So we start there and figure out the rest. Hyun Woo Jin's hand came up to cup her face, his thumb brushing her cheekbone. I love you too. Never stopped. Never will. He kissed her then, gentle, careful, asking permission. She kissed him back, letting herself feel everything she'd been suppressing. The grief, the anger, the love, the hope. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, she signed, one day at a time. One day at a time, he agreed. They went inside together, checked on Jiho sleeping peacefully, then settled into the master bedroom. Separate sides of the bed, as agreed. But in the middle of the night, Maya woke to find Hyun Woo Jin's hand reaching across the space between them, and she took it, holding on tight. They'd found their son against impossible odds. They'd discovered they were having another baby. They were facing medical crises and legal battles in their own broken relationship. But they were facing it together. That had to be enough. For now, it was everything. The next morning, Maya's phone vibrated, a text from Jin with an attached news article. Her blood went cold as she read. Breaking, business mogul Park Sang-woo, found dead in home. Wife also deceased. Apparent murder-suicide. She dropped the phone. Hyun Woo Jin was beside her immediately. What? She showed him the screen with shaking hands. They're dead, she signed. Both Parks. The article says Park shot his wife, then himself, but they were under house arrest, Hyun Woo Jin finished, his face grim. With ankle monitors, police surveillance. Someone got to them. They stared at each other. The implications were clear. Someone had killed the Parks before they could testify, before they could reveal who else was involved in stealing Jiho. This wasn't just Park's plan, Maya signed, her mind racing. Someone bigger was behind this. Someone with enough power to orchestrate a murder inside a police-monitored house. Hyun Woo Jin's expression turned dangerous. Then we find them, before they find us. Jiho's cry echoed through the monitor. Maya moved on instinct, but Hyun Woo Jin caught her arm. From now on, he signed, his dark eyes intense. We don't go anywhere without security. We don't trust anyone outside our immediate circle. Someone stole our son, tortured him, killed witnesses, and they're still out there. What are you saying? I'm saying this isn't over. His jaw tightened. And whoever is behind this just made it clear they'll kill anyone who threatens them, including us. Maya's hand went to her stomach protectively. 2 children to protect now. A conspiracy that went deeper than they'd imagined. Knowing a killer who just demonstrated they could reach anyone, anywhere. She looked at Hyun Woo Jin, saw the same determination in his face that she felt. Then we fight, she signed. Together. Together, he agreed. But as they went to comfort their crying son, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. That somewhere in Seoul's glittering expanse, Someone was monitoring them, waiting, and the real nightmare was just beginning.